The beggar. Seo-jin hurried down the dimly lit street, gripping her phone tightly. It was getting late and the shops were closing up for the night, leaving the sidewalks deserted. She knew she should have left work earlier, but a big project was looming and she lost track of time as usual. Now she was practically running to get to the subway station before the last train departed. As she rounded the corner, eager to spot the glow of the station sign up ahead, a strange noise pulled her from her thoughts. It was a rasping, hoarse sound that sent an unwanted chill through her body. Seo-jin slowed her pace, instinctively clutching her phone closer. The noise came again, seeming to originate from a shadowy alley just a few paces ahead. Her mind screamed at her to keep moving, to ignore it and hurry to safety before investigating anything suspicious in the dark. But her natural curiosity got the better of caution. Seo-jin edged closer to the alley entrance, straining her eyes into the gloom. At first she saw only blackness, but then a twitch of movement resolved into a huddled shape on the gravel. A grimy blanket was pulled tight around spindly limbs, concealing most features, but she could just make out the profile of a gaunt, bearded face tilted up towards her. The rasping sound emerged again from parched lips, a wordless plea or lament to the night. Seo-jin hesitated, unsure if this was simply a homeless person seeking aid or something more sinister lying in wait. Just as she was about to back away, two rheumy eyes flashed open to lock onto her own. She was frozen by their intense, feverish gleam even in the darkness. A gnarled hand emerged from the blanket, claw-like fingers grasping as if to pull her closer. Before Seo-jin could react, the emaciated figure somehow surged up in a scrabbling blur of motion, limbs tangling wildly in the blanket. It lunged out of the alley directly at her with a feral snarl, faster than should have been possible. Adrenaline shot through Seo-jin's veins and she shrieked, twisting away just in time. The twisted form crashed to the pavement where she had been standing only moments before. She didn't wait to see if it would rise again, already sprinting full tilt towards the station as fast as her legs could carry her. The thing let out a guttural howl that sent chills racing down her spine, echoing her primal terror. Seo-jin dared not look back, just focused on putting as much distance as possible between her and that demonic apparition. Her feet pounded the concrete, breath sawing in and out as her heart threatened to burst. She finally spotted the station entrance up ahead, bursting through the automatic doors in a panic. Spinning frantically, Seo-jin braced for the thing to come bursting after her at any second. But nothing appeared, only the empty street beyond the glass panes. She slumped against the wall, gasping for air as shock and adrenaline began to recede, leaving her limbs trembling. What in God's name was that thing? It moved with inhuman speed and ferocity, nothing like a mere beggar. Seo-jin knew deep in her gut that she had escaped something far more sinister lurking in that alleyway tonight. In the coming days, she searched relentlessly for any clues online about supernatural legends or recent occurrences in the area. Finally, a disturbing local forum post caught her eye. Others had reported sightings of a ragged vagrant around the same streets, accosting passers-by with unnatural strength and malice. The description matched Seo-jin's attacker too well to be coincidence. But most chilling of all was the traditional warning shared by an elderly poster, that this was no mere beggar, but a gui confirmed to feast on human chi. Seo-jin felt cold fear trickle down her spine as the fragmented pieces came together. Gui were vengeful spirits believed to possess living hosts, draining their life force through physical contact to sustain their unholy existence. No ordinary person could hope to escape one, let alone overpower it. She had been incredibly lucky to flee unscathed that night. But would her good fortune hold if she ever crossed paths with the gui again, now that it knew her face and scent? In the following weeks, Seo-jin avoided going out alone after dark wherever possible. But her paranoid senses remained razor-sharp, jumping at every tiny sound or shadow. She found herself constantly looking over her shoulder, scanning alleyways and side streets with dread. Slowly, an insidious new fear began to worm its way into her thoughts. Was the gui somehow stalking her even now, cunningly lying in wait for another opportunity to strike? One Saturday afternoon, as rain poured in sheets outside, Seo-jin sat restlessly flipping through social media on her phone. An ear-splitting crash of thunder directly overhead made her yelp and nearly drop the device in shock. She grabbed her chest, forcing deep breaths to steady her racing heart. But another sound soon registered under the fading roar, an uneven scuffling somewhere in her small apartment. Every instinct screaming flight, Seo-jin flew off the couch towards the closed bedroom door, fumbling frantically with the lock. Her phone slipped from numb fingers and crashed to the floor, forgotten. As she turned back towards the main room, a hoarse rasp froze her limbs to ice. "I've found you." Slowly, agonizingly, Seo-jin forced herself to face the source of that voice. A hulking, ragged form was half emerged from the tiny bathroom, gnarled hands leaving deep gouges in the door frame. Those feral eyes bored into her own with cruel intelligence now, no longer a mindless beast. The Gui had hunted her down, followed her very scent right into her home, and now salvation was barred. A lunatic cackle spilled from its throat as it began lurching forward with unrelenting purpose, fingers grasping. Seo-jin fell to her knees in full breakdown, sobbing helplessly. Her end had come at last in this forsaken place, claimed by a vengeful ghost that would feast on the last dregs of her fading life. As the shadow fell over her curled form, a single banshee wail escaped Seo-jin's throat. But instead of the inevitable clawing grip, a peculiar noise interrupted, the ominous ringtone of her long-forgotten phone on the floor. Both she and the Gui froze, heads swiveling almost comically towards the device. With shaking hands, Seo-jin hit accept and raised it weakly to her ear. Hello? At first only harsh breathing, then a familiar hoarse rasp. "I've found you." The Gui slowly turned its own feral gaze back to her, a hint of confusion creeping into those eyes which had only known hunger until now. Seo-jin stared back in astonished horror, the pieces clicking together in her mind even as oblivion beckoned. She had the presence of mind for one final act of defiance, a mad twisted grin splitting her tear-streaked face. "And I found you." With the last reserves of her fading strength, Seo-jin pushed herself past the Gui into the bathroom, locking the door firmly behind her shaking body. From the other side came desperate pounding and enraged howls, too late realizing the trap had closed. As her vision dimmed, she slumped against the tiles, still clutching her phone and the parasitic link now tethering spirit to spirit beyond the veil. Two beings once set on a collision course, now fused irrevocably through the ties that bind both life and death.